Almost 9 years after Iron Man kicked things off, the MCU is still going strong. However, there are a few arguably lackluster titles in the franchise's filmography. One of the movies in this category is the second entry in the Thor series, Thor Dark World. Don't get me wrong, 7.0 on IMDb and 66% on Rotten Tomatoes is nothing to scoff at. If Thor Dark World was a bit of a letdown, it can only be considered such within the context of the MCU's lofty standards. With the massive financial and critical success of the first entry in Phase 3, Captain America Civil War, and the highly acclaimed second entry, Doctor Strange, the question now becomes, will Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok, follow Cap's lead and kick massive ass, or lean more toward the previous entry in the Thor series?
I was wrong, I was a fool.
When it comes to delivering solo movies, is Thor ultimately an inferior hero to his Avengers teammates Cap and Iron Man? I say no. While Thor Ragnarok may not make the impact of Civil War, it will not be a lull in Phase 3 of the MCU. Here are 3 pretty solid reasons why Thor Ragnarok will rock your world.
That's supposed to be funny?
No, it's not funny at all.
Reason number 1, the director. Taika Waititi is not exactly a household name yet, at least not outside his native New Zealand.
Hello, ladies.
In fact, he may be best known as Ryan Reynolds' nerdy friend in the critically panned Green Lantern movie, or perhaps for his frequent collaborations with Flight of the Conchords member Jermaine Clement. However, as a writer and director, Taika has created some of the most hilarious and heartfelt films of the last decade. Eagle vs. Shark, Boy, What We Do in the Shadows, and my personal favorite movie of 2016, Hunt for the Wilder People, have all been praised by critics and fans alike, despite flying a little under the mainstream radar.
The Wilder People!
The what are people?
There are 2 elements that Taika consistently delivers in all his films, genuine hilarity and genuine heart. And these happen to be the 2 most critical ingredients for all of the best MCU movies. Not convinced that an indie comedy director deserves Thor 3? Well, consider this. Before directing Iron Man 1, Jon Favreau's biggest movie was the indie comedy Elf. Before directing Avengers 1, Joss Whedon's biggest movie was the comedically loaded indie sci-fi flick Serenity. Before directing Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn's biggest movie was the indie superhero comedy Super. And before directing Captain America: The Winter Soldier, the Russo brothers were mainly known for directing the comedy series Community. I don't know how exactly Kevin Feige figured out this formula, but apparently if you take quirky indie comedy directors and give them massive budget superhero movies, the results are almost always epically awesome. As a director, Taika Waititi fits into this formula perfectly, so we can only assume he will bring the drama, the action, and the funny to Thor Ragnarok. Reason number 2, Thor vs. Hulk. Despite getting off to a slightly rocky start in the MCU with 2008's The Incredible Hulk, fans pretty much unanimously agree that the Hulk has been one of the biggest highlights in the MCU since.
I'm always angry.
One of the Hulk's best moments was this tease from the Avengers, in which the team's 2 most powerful members face off against each other. However, the fight wasn't finished, and there was no clear winner. In Thor Ragnarok, we will finally see the conclusion to what the Avengers teased us with, a full-on fight between the Norse god and the giant green rage monster.
This'll send you back to hell, you ugly troll!
Thor Ragnarok is loosely based on the events of the comic series Planet Hulk, in which the Hulk is accidentally transported to a strange planet that pits its strongest warriors and prisoners against each other in gladiatorial combat. In Thor Ragnarok, the Hulk will face off against alien warriors in a gladiatorial arena, but unlike the comics, one of his opponents will be Thor Odinson. To make things more interesting, Thor will be without his hammer, Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
What that guy said. The question, who is the most powerful Avenger, will finally be answered, and hopefully it will be a fight for the ages. Reason number 3, the finale of Loki. Tom Hiddleston has gone on record stating that Thor Ragnarok will be his last turn in the role of the trickster god Loki. Whether or not the character of Loki will be killed off or simply replaced by another actor is unknown, but considering how much fans loved Hiddleston in that role, my guess is Loki will not make it out of Thor Ragnarok alive. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok is like the Armageddon for Norse gods.
No, Dad, no!
All of the gods die fighting in an epic battle and destroy the cosmos in the process, only for it to be reborn again in a new cycle. The mythology may sound like kind of a downer, but don't worry. In spite of its title, Thor Ragnarok will probably not follow Norse mythology too closely. Something tells me Thor might just save the day, sparing the Earth and Asgard from the treachery of Hela. But it wouldn't be Ragnarok without at least a few Asgardians getting taken out. And considering the news that Hiddleston is hanging up his big-ass horns, it seems likely that Loki will be one of the characters that doesn't make it. If this is the case, I would expect nothing less than an epic end for Loki. Thor Ragnarok could tie up several Loki-related story arcs that were set in motion back in 2011 with the first Thor movie, adding all the more epicness to Thor Ragnarok. So, do you agree with my points?
Given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Do you think Thor Ragnarok will hit it out of the park, or swing and miss? And do you think this movie will be the end of Loki? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more MCU-related videos, and videos that are completely not related to the MCU. Until next time, farewell citizens of Midgard.